Petersen Rock Garden. Petersen Rock Garden, formerly Petersen's Rock Garden, and also known as the Petersen Rock Gardens, is a rock garden and museum on 4 acres 1.6 ha, located between the cities of Bend and Redmond in Deschutes County, Oregon, United States. Rasmus Petersen, a Danish immigrant who settled in Central Oregon in the early 1900s, began constructing the garden in 1935 using rocks he found within an 85-mile 137 km radius of his family home. Petersen constructed detailed miniature castles, churches and other small buildings and monuments from a variety of rock types. He incorporated other design elements such as bridges, water features, and natural landscaping. Petersen worked on the garden until his death in 1952. The garden has remained in his family's care since then. The garden, considered a roadside attraction with novelty architecture, includes roaming peafowl and a museum with a gift shop that sells rocks. In 2011, Petersen Rock Garden was named one of Oregon's most endangered places by the Historic Preservation. In 2012, accidental damage to one of the stone bridges by a contractor catalyzed an effort to document the garden using laser scanning and other technologies. The garden was closed temporarily in 2013 to undergo repair and review for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. Petersen has been praised for his creative work, and the garden has received a positive reception for its uniqueness and local significance. Listing on the National Register was achieved on October 30, 2013. The garden closed indefinitely in 2016 because of high repair costs. Description: Petersen Rock Garden, considered a roadside attraction with eclectic novelty architecture, is located 3 miles 4.8 km off U.S. Route 97, 10 miles 16 km north of Bend, and 7 miles 11 km south of Redmond. It contains dozens of fanciful and intricately detailed miniature buildings, including castles, churches, and cottages, constructed from agate, jasper, lava, malachite, obsidian, petrified wood, and thundereggs. The 4-acre 1.6 ha grounds also contain roaming peafowl and a small museum with a gift shop that sells rocks, including crystals, fossils, and semi-precious gemstones. The museum features a fluorescent room with miniature castles constructed from manganese, tungsten, uranium, and zinc that glow in the dark. Petersen Rock Garden is open every day from 9 a.m. until closing time, which varies depending on the season. Admission was $4.50 for adults at self-pay stations as of 2009. It is not a member of the Oregon Museums Association. The price had increased to $6 by 2016. History: Rasmus Petersen, a Danish immigrant who settled in Central Oregon in the early 1900s at age 17, began constructing the rock garden on the grounds of his family home in 1935. The eccentric farmer used rocks that he found within an 85-mile 137 km radius. He attempted to evoke his native country with his designs, but also created monuments to the United States, including a concrete American flag and a 7-foot 2.1 m replica of the Statue of Liberty. Petersen incorporated other design elements such as bridges, water features, lagoons, lily ponds, and streams, and natural landscaping. He worked on the garden until his death in 1952. The garden has remained in his family's care since then. A bronze plaque in front of the Statue of Liberty replica reads, "Enjoy yourself, it's later than you think." Petersen's Rock Garden became known as Petersen Rock Garden in the mid-1950s. At its height, supported by traffic from the old Bend-Redmond Highway, the garden drew approximately 150,000 visitors a year. The garden is managed and owned by Petersen's grand-stepdaughter, Susan Coward, and her family, who has struggled to maintain the lawns and dozens of sculptures. In 2011, the garden was named one of Oregon's most endangered places by the Historic Preservation League of Oregon, now known as Restore Oregon. The Endangered Places program raises awareness of the state's historic treasures in need of the advocacy and support to save them from demise. According to the League, the deteriorating garden needed maintenance, a business plan, and a publicity campaign to ensure stewardship and funds are available to overcome vandalism, theft, and condition issues. In 2012, a contractor accidentally damaged one of the stone bridges, catalyzing an effort to document the garden using laser scanning and other technologies. The Portland-based company I-10 measured and archived the site's geospatial data, allowing potential future rebuilding to match the original construction. The garden was closed from February 1 through May 24, 2013 to undergo repair and review for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. The family and 10 volunteers worked for nearly 6 months to restore the grounds. The cleanup process included the removal of dead vegetation and junk from outbuildings, and an estate sale that included items from before Petersen's death. On May 25, 2013, Petersen Rock Garden hosted its grand reopening. The opening was attended by members of the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, who sang and blessed the garden. Coward has considered opening a cafe on the grounds and turning the family home into a bed and breakfast. Owen Evans, a friend of the family who has assisted with the restoration, has also envisioned a museum reorganization, a small amphitheater to host outdoor concerts and other events, and additional rock sculptures mimicking Petersen's style. Petersen Rock Garden was added to the National Register of Historic Places on October 30, 2013. The garden closed indefinitely in September 2016. Coward said closing was necessary because of repair costs and the cancellation of the garden's insurance due to safety concerns. The dilapidated garden was still accessible but remained in a state of disrepair as of October 2017. Reception.